How's it going out there, everyone in YouTube? This is W.F.S, your doctor. And Avatar 2, now headed toward box office disaster. Weekend numbers are in. Along with Avatar 2 underperforming in its opening weekend, the sequel relies on a 3D fad that's been dead for years. So, let's talk about this. This is coming from Giant Freaking Robot, and it's some interesting stuff that's coming out of the article. But before we do, if you could please click the like and subscribe button, definitely appreciate it. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you. Again, I say it so often, but thank you so much. It is really appreciated. Things aren't looking great for the saga of Pandora. Avatar 2's box office numbers are in, and while 134 million weekend would make most studios thrilled, for a sequel that reportedly needs $2 billion just to break even, it's not the best news. Not at all. Not only did Avatar: The Way of the Water miss its 175 million opening weekend projections, but some believe the sequel's dependence too heavily on the pull of 3D, which hasn't helped significantly put butts in theater seats for years. Basically, a lot of people aren't that impressed with 3D anymore. And the fact that this movie took $2 billion to make and only brought in 135 million, that's a major ouch. And this is something that Disney desperately needs to pull through for them. As Oliver Dancy of CNN Business writes, the theatrical landscape isn't the same as it was back when 2009's Avatar first became a best-selling movie. Avatar 2 opened weekend box office numbers have been beating those of its predecessors to the tune of 57 million, but Deadline reported 62% of the sequel's take-home came from IMAX, PLF, and the premium 3D ticket sales. In order to reach the $2 billion goal, The Way of the Water premium tickets will have to keep up a good pace, and it's questionable whether the 22 audiences will be willing as 2009 was to sell out on money. It's a good question here. I mean, really, theaters are just more expensive now than they were back in 2009, and the ticket prices, or rather the tickets that are selling, are the IMAX theaters and the 3D tickets. And a lot of people just don't want to shell out that money, especially when you got families. The inflation the way it is, the economy the way it is, it's just a killer right now to go to the movies. Damn, I mean, it's just crazy. Avatar 2 box office aspirations also have to contend with the streaming wars. Not only do audiences have dozens of other TV shows and films they can stream on their phones or in their living rooms rather than going to the theater to see The Way of the Water, but they also have gotten used to a much shorter theater to streaming turnaround time than we had in 2009. There's doubtless plenty of fans who want to see the film, as do I. I think it looks great. But the anticipation may be tempered enough to wait until the film streams on Disney+, particularly for those who already paid subscribers. They would seem like the less expensive option. That would seem like the less expensive option, but for a person like me, depending on what the movie is, I go to the theater because, I don't care how big your screen is at home. It's just not the same thing as seeing something as epic as this on a massive theater screen. But, having said all that, I think the problem that we have, not only with Avatar 2, a lot of other movies, is that they're just too damn expensive to make, and they expect the audiences to shell out all this money like they used to, and it's just getting too expensive. When a family of 4 has to spend anywhere from $60 to $80 between your movie tickets, depending on when you go, and then you got your snacks, it just equals out to such an astronomical amount of money now. And sometimes I wonder if the streaming platforms are just trying to kill out the movie theaters completely. But that's a different discussion to have. So, what do you think about all this? Do you think Avatar 2 is in trouble? Do you think the film is going to be able to pull a magical rabbit out of its hat and make $2 billion? That's a serious prayer to ask right there. That's a miracle right there. Although it is the time of miracles, so let's just see what happens. Honestly, it makes me think back to another film back in the 80s when Star Trek the Motion Picture came out in 1979, it did okay at the theaters, and Paramount decided to green light a second film, but they weren't willing to shell out the millions that they did for the first one. So they made it in a TV studio versus on a full-size film production studio, which saved them a ton of money, and it turned out to make the film a lot more cash, not to mention the fact it had a way better script. But that may be the way that Hollywood turns this whole thing around. Stop going with epic theater-like studios and go back to the television premise of it all. But that's just my opinion of it. So please comment below. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. I really want to hear from you. W.F.S, your doctor here, and until the next time, my friends, God bless.